Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. It's been a moment since I broadcast to you from this fashion. Ran through a little problems, maybe got it resolved a bit, and maybe I can make it a little convenient for me to, when I get something that I feel is brightening and enlightening and something that we can both benefit from, I would share with you. And ladies and gentlemen, the thing that I want to talk to you about today is that I know when I speak to you about heavenliness and righteousness and God and peace and prosperity and joy and freedom and your happiness, I know that kind of sounds bizarre. It sounds quite foreign. It's nothing that you haven't heard before. But the possibilities of its existence or reality over your lifespan is just drawn to a halt. It's something that you don't basically believe in, but you must understand, and I'm sure you do, is that we live in a lawless society. We live in a crime and violence society. That's the way the world operates. The entire world operates that way. You know, just in the past, say, the 1900s up through now, we've had millions of people murdered, millions of people slaughtered by other people. And I'm not talking about tsunamis that was caused by God knows what. I'm not talking about the earthquakes and the wildfires and the storms and the tornadoes and hurricanes that's caused by who knows what. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about somebody picking up a gun and then pulling a trigger and a bullet hitting someone, or dropping a bomb on someone, or using deadly gas or viruses that cause all kinds of death. This is the kind of society that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. That's a fact. And now people want to talk about a God of love in the midst of all of this. And for some strange reason, they have reduced the allegiance to God to a point of just being here in the midst of all of this hell, all of this violence, all of this crime, all of this pain and suffering, and just don't get your fingers wet. And you can go to heaven, is what they want you to believe. They tell you if you stop smoking, stop chasing after the opposite sex, which seems to be something really natural, and if you don't party and have too much fun, and if you go to church and give the church 10% of your money and confess that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and stay out of jail, out of trouble, then you can rest assured that the religious community of America tells you that you're destined to heaven. They even tell you that that even though you have done wrong and you're not fit for heaven, that someone sacrificed their life for you. And if you can accept that reality, then that eliminates you from that old crime and violence that you were engaged in used to be, and still are, because you've been forgiven. Now, all of this stuff, it plays right into what's going on in the world today. I mean, it doesn't play into a beautiful society developing no kind of way, unless this has to do with a point in when the world and the people just destroy themselves, and they get a chance to start over with what might be left. And it got to be somewhere in the forest, living in dire detriment. No way could they be living in a society like this and come out and starting something new, different from this. No, I have to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that starting something new and different is a decision. It's you make up your mind that you're going to do something. It doesn't slip up on you. And why in the world? Let me ask you something. Why in the world would you say that in order to receive peace, you got to have justice, and there will be no justice, and you can still have peace? That doesn't make any sense. And people will try to tell you that. I tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. You know they used to tell you that save people. go to heaven. Now, I just got through describing what they say saved is. But these saved people that we're talking about now, all these people that go to heaven now, like Elvis Presley, Al Capone, and Jesse James, and everybody, all of them go to heaven now. Back in the day, they said people like John the Baptist and, well, you know who they are, who they say went to heaven. I don't know who went to heaven. But they gave you the impression that they were some special kind of people who had a special kind of activity in their lives. Let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who smoke weed, what if you got to heaven and nobody smoking the weed? Wouldn't you feel bad? Or let me ask you, what if you don't smoke weed and you can't stand it, and then you get to heaven and everybody's smoking weed? Wouldn't you want to leave? That's no place you want to be. So if everybody in heaven is about peace and prosperity and joy and freedom and your dreams being met and the things that you need, want, and desires, all that being met, if that's what's happening in heaven, why would you want to be there? I mean, seriously, and this is just a question, and I'm asking this question because if you really wanted to be there, if it meant that much to you, then you could change your mind today. And by changing your mind today, all of a sudden you start getting some understanding about what is required to bring about reality. And you could do it. And you could take this violent society, this society that represents barbarism, and turn it into something that's like human, I guess. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to talk for a minute there just to check my camera out to see if the thing works. I guess if I was just going to summarize this moment in time that you've given to me, I'd have to basically say that the society that we're living in is really ran by evil, that which destroys it. And it continues to exist because the power that made it allows it to exist. Now, what that purpose is for its continuation, to be honest, I really don't know. But I can say, in the meantime, while the world and the earth and people are continuing to exist, we can make some major changes that would eliminate this suffering and this pain. We actually can do that. And it will be done by we the people. It won't be done by some leader. In fact, let me say something about leaders. A good leader, or what you call the people who are trying to go someplace, lead themselves, come together and lead themselves. They decide amongst themselves what they're going to do, and they do it. They make the decisions, and they do it. That's good leadership. Somebody gonna lead you someplace, and you got somebody that's speaking for you, and you got biased interests. That ain't gonna work. Now, a dictator, I'm gonna tell you what a dictator is. A dictator, somebody might say a dictator can get you there, but I'm gonna tell you this about a dictator. A dictator, for the lack of understanding about other things, I can just associate it with what I've known in this society. It's the most vicious and dangerous person on earth, because a murderer will kill you or some of you, but a dictator will kill all of you just to have his way. So some nations got dictators now, and they act so weak and humble and stuff because they walking on ice, and the ice is thin, and they want to live. And that's how dictators come. They come and find some people who got a lot of resentment and hate in them. Got a lot of good people who do nothing. And you got a lot of people that's suffering who don't have the power to do anything. And the dictator come in ramrodding with some thugs. They'll do anything they say and ultimately kill you and take over you. So when you find that you got a dictator in your midst, you better get that dictator out of your midst as quick as you possibly can. I ain't even talking about in the leadership. I'm talking about as soon as you find you. And what is a dictator? Nothing but a big bully. You should straighten bullies out right away. And if they come to a stage where you know they're a dictator, you have to get them out of the way as quick as you possibly can. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem on your hand. You're going to have a major problem on your hand. And if you ever wake up, you're going to still have a problem on your hand. And you're going to have to do some crazy stuff to remove a dictator because he has no mind of his own. A dictator is a devil. Well, I'll let you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for giving me that. Until next time, Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.